a parasite in that sense that that turns on itself, or when it finally have killed the host, if you will, dies itself. It's like it's
a virus.
Yeah, it's like eradicating itself. It's like the last thing that it can do.
Mankind's like a virus on the earth, and there's only two ways of getting rid of a virus. It either you give it an antidote or you eradicate it. That's the only two ways. Now, we've been given a choice, and we've been given a choice thousands of times to cure the virus. And the simple virus that afflicts mankind is the ego. That's the only thing it is. It's nothing. That's what I see. I only see, because that's what I know happens in me. I've watched myself. I've watched what my ego, not only what it's done to other people, but what it's done to me. I've watched what it can do, and it is the most self-destructive element that anything could possibly possess. It's a self-destruct button. It really is. It can destroy itself. If it can't destroy everything around it, it will destroy itself or its host, and you're absolutely right. It's a parasite. It is a parasite. Like I said, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know anything about it. And the point is, I don't want to know, because it's not important. None of that information is important. All I know is that I'm suddenly having an ability to actually deny it control, and actually say to it, no, you're not controlling me anymore. I'm not controlling you. I'm just going to cut it off. And it's it's probably a paradox, is that if something's saying it's got power over you and you turn your back on it and ignore it, all of a sudden its power diminishes.
Yeah, well, that's true. Also, at the same time, I feel, well, first of all, ego always should be defined also in that sense. What is it really? What is, if we talk about psychology, for instance, what is the construct of the ego, and exactly where do we draw the line between, as Terence McKenna said a while back, which is a good thing in regards to like getting rid of the ego, he said, well, on one regard, we need the ego if we define it in the sense that this is what defines that you actually put food into your own mouth and not into the other guy's mouth or whatever. That it's a construct there that obviously is needed. But then the question is how much you let that control you. That's how I see it at this point, at least.
Isn't it better though to put some food into someone else's mouth?
Well, as long as someone else is feeding you, obviously, but then you need to rely on that someone is doing that. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? It's one of them circular things. It will just keep going round and round in circles.
Exactly.
I don't get involved in any of the circular things, because someone said to me recently, will you debate? I said, no. And they said, why? I said, because it's an argument. I said, well, no, it's not. It's a debate. I said, no, it's just it's another name for an argument. I said, I don't have to debate. I don't want to know what's coming. As far as I'm concerned, what is going to happen in the future is for my future is what I create today. And if I create a world today that I love and I respect, and I believe myself to have no greater dignity than anybody else, I'm no better, no less, then the world that I'm creating, my world, will be that world. Now, if I create a world of hate and I create a world of war and destruction, then that's what the future will hold for me. And I believe that I am constructing the future, because it's not here yet, it's not written. It's something that we have a chance. That's why Gandhi said so simply, we have to be the change we want to see. Because when we change now, then we affect how we are in the future. Because everything that we're around us is affected by the way that we present ourselves. Everything is affected. And the ideal, look how people talk to each other. If you talk to people with attitude and anger, then generally you're going to get attitude and anger back.
Yeah.
Now, if you talk to people generally politely and respectfully, and you don't use harmful words or anything towards, then they react in the same way.
In most cases, that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. But sooner or later, it doesn't matter who you come up against. I've noticed this, that it doesn't matter how people present themselves to you. sooner or later, the people do start to, you connect to the human being. You start to bypass the ego and you start to talk to the heart. And when you finally get through to the heart, the human being suddenly realizes that you have an ability to switch this thing off. You can switch it off. You can actually say, no, you're not controlling me anymore. And the world that we live in controls us through our ego. It controls us through our fear. It controls us through the need for money, and money resides in the ego. Everything is to do with the person and the ego. There's nothing in this world that doesn't revolve around these two elements, which really are the same. They're just separated, and that's why the system that they use with the person, the piece of paper, works so well, because it's deception, and the ego deceives you. That's exactly what it's doing, because it's saying, look at what we say we have a personality. So we're actually now accrediting actual human feelings to something that is non-existent. We're actually doing it. We're saying we have a personality. But it's nothing to do with the mind. It's to do with the human being. But they've now saying to us, well, I was told when I was a kid I had a personality disorder. Mm-hmm. Now I look back and I'm saying, well, yeah, I did have a personality disorder, because I was always fighting against the person. I was always fighting against this so-called personality that I had. I was always at war with it. Mm. And that's what caused me so much distress all through my life. But what it was actually teaching me was that there is this thing there, and that I do, I can have the ability to just say, no, you're not going to control me anymore. I'm not going to do the things you want me to do. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to say, I want to love. I don't care what you say anymore. I want to love. But this person's shouting in your face. It doesn't matter. I want to love this human being. I'm not dealing with the person anymore. I'm dealing with a human being. And a human being requires love. Doesn't matter what the person is or what the person's done. The human being needs my love. And sooner or later, the human being will realise that there is a person there, and they'll have the ability to disconnect from that person and become a human being again. Mm. And that's how I look at it. I just look at it very simply. Mm. And the more, and like I said, I look at the laws of attraction, and the laws of attraction say that things, it says to me that if I love, I will be loved. Yeah. And if I do not want for control of anything, then I won't be controlled. And I can self-govern. I don't need a government. I don't need someone to tell me what to do. I don't need to be given liberty. I was born a man, and a man is born free. Yes. I don't need to be given liberty. I don't need to be given something called freedom. I will never accept that one element of a community can say, we have everything, it is ours, and we are going to make you pay for the pleasure of living on planet Earth. Mm. I won't accept that. I'm sorry. I can never accept it, because it's wrong.
And again, this idea of that you can also create the environment that you want to be in. I like that idea a lot as well, meaning that on one regard, even though that the planet is slowly being turned into this grid of control, some people call it prison planet, whatever you want to call it. It's slowly but surely getting tighter and tighter, the grip, as it were, around this idea of our freedom. But at the same time, I also feel that we can live free in the system that we're in, if you know what I mean. Just with this
you can.
idea of law of attraction that you were mentioning, John, that what we focus on, if we focus too much on how bad our situation is all the time, then
it's worse.
Yeah, well, exactly, doesn't it? Isn't that interesting?
It does, absolutely. It gets worse. That's why, I love the way you've put that. It's absolutely true, because it is the laws of attraction. If you focus on the bad, then the bad is just going to keep. See, the point is, I suppose, the simpleness of this is that whatever's happening in the world is happening because it's meant to happen. Yeah. Everyone who leaves today is meant to leave, and everybody who comes today is meant to come. That's how I see things. I see things quite literally.
It's an order. It's in perfect balance. Everything that happens for it's a purpose, a reason, and everything is on queue. It's online. We don't need to worry about it, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't worry about it. I don't. People say, "Oh, what about the water?" No, I'm not. I won't worry about anything. And I kind of really strange. A little while ago, I said to someone about they were talking about energies, and I don't really get involved in any of this, but they was talking about energies, and I said, well, I kind of like was told a long, long time ago by a very, very dear friend, an old lady down in Cornwall, who said to me, all you've got to do is chill out, relax, and stay away from technology. That's what she told me.
Stay away from technology. Eh?
Absolutely stay away from technology.
Ah.
And I said, okay. I said, I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of, I didn't connect to any of it at the time. I was trying to force control on everything and trying to do it. And anyway, I was talking to someone recently about disease. And someone had said to me in an email, or they'd said it to me, I can't remember now, about human beings should be in the higher energies. This is what we're told. And I was talking to someone about disease, and I was talking about to a friend, and I said, I don't believe that human beings should be in the higher frequencies. I believe we should be in lower frequencies. And I said, I'll explain what I mean. I said, when you go to sleep, your body naturally sinks down to a lower state, and it just naturally does it. Your breathing becomes slow, your heart runs slow, and your body fixes itself when it's asleep. It repairs itself.
Yeah.
And Jess said to me, that's really strange. She said, because diseases can only live in the higher energies. I went, oh, right. Okay, now that's interesting. So when you're asleep, the disease, you start to repair the disease, because the disease comes from, as I believe, the word dis-ease. So when you're at dis-ease, you get diseased.
Yeah.
And when you're at dis-ease, you worry and you stress, and all these are higher stuff, you know. And so what I did when I was looking at law and everything, I actually found something that's very interesting, is the fact that whatever they say, the truth is exactly 180 degrees in the opposite direction.
In most cases, yeah, exactly.
But that's exactly the same with everything. So when someone says, well, you need to live in the higher frequencies, the actual truth of it is we have to live in the lower frequencies, because disease can't exist in them frequencies. But it can in the higher frequencies. So we've been told, get to the higher frequencies. And everybody's like, I couldn't work this out. I couldn't work it out. And these similarities have started to happen all the time about sort of this lower, being calm and relaxed. And then we started to talk about sort of what I was told. I said, you stay away from technology, blah, 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 and all of this, and relax and don't stress and calm down. And then I found, well, how do I relax? How do I calm down? And I actually suddenly realised that when I stop thinking about things, I naturally become relaxed. Mm. Because there's no stress anymore, because generally the things I'm thinking of are causing the stress in the first place. Or the worry, and worry is stress, and they say stress a killer, because obviously it does do that to you. You become very ill, and the reason your state or whatever you are in is actually in something it's not meant to be in. So it becomes very at disease, and so I was kind of like, hold on. So if I stop thinking about things and stop worrying, I stop stressing, and then I can become relaxed. When I'm relaxed, then I don't want to go near technology. This is making sense now. This is all starting to make sense. There's a simpleness here. And then I got to thinking about the internet, and it suddenly dawned on me what the internet actually is and how it's used every single day. And the point is with the internet is that every infrastructure in the world to do with control, banking, anything you look at only works because it works via the internet. Now, I talked to a few people about this, and I said, no, but they said, but there's secure connections, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, but it's still connected. It doesn't matter if anything's secure, or there's pipelines, or there's this, or there's that. They're still all connected. Mm. So that means they're relying upon this entity called the internet